What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be speaking about having your Venus squaring your partner's moon in synastry. So to begin with, let's get into squares in synastry. So with squares, they're known for bringing challenges. It can be a bit of a difficult or challenging aspect. It is a hard aspect, and they can bring tensions into a relationship. So with squares between two planets, they can make things a bit more challenging, and that's not to say that they can't also be worked through and be positive, especially when worked through, because squares can also bring a lot of growth into a relationship. It is also going to bring a lot of changes for the better in a relationship when worked through with someone. And the friction that a square can really bring to a relationship can also create passion and also energy in a relationship that can be a good thing. Like, both of the partners would be likely to have differences when it comes to the two planets that are squaring each other, and with that they can also be very complementary energy, where somebody has strengths that the other doesn't, and somebody is strong where someone is weak, and they can learn from each other ways to be able to integrate those different or opposing energies. And in that way, squares can contribute to a lot of growth in a relationship and lead to positive results, like learning things like empathy and patience with each other, and even things like being more adaptable, being more flexible, and even being more resilient in a relationship with somebody, because they can also bring with them a lot of opportunities to really double down on the commitment. But anyway, with the moon squaring Venus in synastry, this brings with it its own set of challenges, or it can also bring with it its own set of experiences to be able to grow through. And it's not always going to be bad necessarily. So with the moon is important because this really shows emotional compatibility, which is a very important part of a relationship between two people. And the moon's energy is very much centered around things like intimacy in a relationship, and even understanding of each other and being able to support each other when it comes to each other's needs, be that emotional, and even just the sense of being able to nurture each other in a relationship and in nurturing the relationship as well. In a lot of ways, the moon is going to reflect what is comfortable in a relationship and emotional security, and where that really lies, and being able to show up in the daily routines and every day with someone, and being able to provide that sense of comfort, understanding, and even security, even during times of things like stress, and when somebody is very stressed out, and when somebody is perhaps in a vulnerable state. So the moon is going to reflect how those things are handled, especially if the moon connection is a harmonious one. It can be easier to deal with these parts of a relationship, of a connection with someone. Whereas if it's more of a non-harmonious connection involving the moon, then this can kind of bring the opposite, and there can be more need for working harder at being able to understand where somebody's coming from during those times and emotionally. And the moon is also about this gut instinct that you can have in situations with someone. So it can be that it isn't something that's as easy to pick up on. They can even have conflicting emotional needs and conflicting emotional responses to each other. And it's also can bring out a lot of triggering energy when it comes to each other, because of the sense that emotionally they're not getting where each other is coming from. And they can have very different ways when it comes to expressing that they care and expressing that they're seeking some comfort in the relationship, or even when it comes to being able to offer comfort and even support. It could be something that is misunderstood, like there is a sense of emotional distance. Like, emotional intelligence is really going to go a long way when it comes to having hard aspects being formed to the moon, and communication and things like very conscious effort when it comes to approaching each other and each other's emotions in the relationship with each other. Because it is possible that with hard aspects involving the moon, it's difficult to pick up on each other's emotional cues and understand each other's emotional needs and feelings. Hence, in the worst case, they can trigger each other, especially emotionally. So that is the moon. But when it comes to Venus, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, relationships, romance, and affection, even money, and it governs things like attraction and compatibility when it comes to love and affection. So with Venus, this is a planet that really shows aesthetics and how they are valued and preferred, and harmony in a relationship, as well as chemistry between two people. And having Venus in harmonious signs can also show that they can have very complementing tastes and styles and interests, even being able to find enjoyment out of being able to experience the same experiences and finding pleasure in the same ways. It's very significant, especially for how people relate to each other and showing how they relate to each other, especially in matters to do with love, attraction, and their values. So when it comes to having the moon squaring your partner's Venus in synastry, two people can be very attracted to each other. They can even have shared interests and find that they have strong physical and even emotional attraction, and they can have a strong sense of initial chemistry with each other with this synastry. They can even find that they're very attracted to each other for qualities that the other partner has that they feel like they lack, and they feel like they complement them in that way when it comes to being able to have strengths that they feel like they lack, which can really encourage them to want to pursue a relationship with each other with this synastry at first. However, when it comes to having the square between the moon and Venus, what can happen with the synastry is that they can come to find that they have different love languages, and that can present itself as a challenge in this relationship as time goes on. With the square here between the moon and Venus, it can present this sense of friction, especially when it comes to giving and receiving love and affection, and even each other's emotions. Like the emotional needs of the moon person here can clash with or not be well received or not align with the Venus person's way of showing love and affection. Even when it comes to their values, their tastes, and their interests, they can be very different, and even the way that they responding to each other because of this can be something that feels very unsatisfying at times. With the moon person and the Venus person, they can have different lifestyle choices as well, and different preferences in a lot of ways, which can kind of throw the harmony of balance. And when it comes to their home life and their social life, they may need to really compromise in a lot of things, or there can be some disagreements that come up. And this can even have to do with their finances. They can have different ways of looking at finances and have different desires and even different expectations when it comes to these things. They could even be coming from different social backgrounds, different lifestyles, causing them to appreciate different things. But when it comes to those differences, it can even lead to emotional volatility, which can also bring with it highs and lows in the relationship, which is also got the potential to be emotionally triggering, and this relationship can be emotionally triggering at times. For the Venus person may even have a hard time understanding the moon person and where they're coming from in this relationship, and vice versa. But the Venus person is going to perhaps struggle and need to put in a lot of conscious effort when it comes to being able to meet the moon person's deeper emotional needs consistently in this relationship with them. And with this synastry, they can spend a lot of time trying to work out a compromise. And when it comes to being able to get on the same page when it comes to things, because they have different styles and preferences, and they could have many disagreements at times in their relationship, and come to find that the way that they express affection in their relationship can feel like it is not entirely meeting the emotional needs of the other in this relationship between two people, which can feel like they have a hard time with understanding how to please each other in this relationship, and a lot of effort needs to go into it. Because with this synastry, it can lead to a lot of arguments around being able to see things in the same way and being able to agree with each other when it comes to their differences. And for the moon person here can be hurt by the Venus person's way of expressing their love and affection being something that they're perceiving as not fulfilling their emotional needs, or it could be inconsistent, but it is not something that is satisfying the moon person. At the same time, the Venus person can also feel hurt by the way that the moon person is receiving their gestures or expressions of love and affection if they aren't appreciating them or if they are misunderstanding them. And this part of their relationship can be quite frustrating on both ends. And so especially with the willingness to work on understanding and supporting each other, especially emotionally, and where they are coming from, because they could be coming at many things from different perspectives in their relationship, it can strengthen their emotional bond, especially when it happens over time. Well, that does it for this video on having your Venus squaring your partner's moon in synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it helpful. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel for more videos. Well, that is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.